Well, hello everyone, and welcome to the weekend preview show here on All Angle Sports Investment with myself, Steve Wiss, and Ashley Waite. We're ready for a really tasty weekend slate, and following on from a decent enough Europa Conference League final for us, where we hit some winners in that show. Ready to rock and roll again, Ashley?
Yep, ready to go. Got our amazing Champions League match coming up, so I think that's just going to be a really good one. Get to watch what I think is the best team in the world play. So yeah, going to be a good one.
Manchester City against Inter Milan. There's only one place to start. Hello, Sonny. Hope you're doing well. Like I say, only one place to start here. Man City, Inter Milan. I'm actually going to start us off with a pick straight off the bat here. No messing around. It's Ilkay Gundogan to score or assist in the game at plus 188. I think it's a massive price on him. If you watch him recently, I think he's probably one of the most informed Manchester City players. And he is absolutely on fire. He's done a lot of things recently in terms of scoring, assisting. He's also been picking up yellow cards. He's obtained more yellows than anyone else in Europe for Manchester City this season, by the way. So if those who are after a booking may want to consider him. He's basically someone who is, I think, one of the most underrated players in the world. He's in fantastic form. I think he's very capable of scoring. If I had to pick one of the two, I would say Gundogan to score, really, because he's got that great finish that he can have, that placed pass finish into the net. But, with Manchester City, I think there's always a great chance that he could pop up and supply someone as well. So plus 188, this is a market on Betfair. There's a few other books that offer this market. It's to score or assist on Ilkay Gundogan, because I personally believe, I think Manchester City will win this game fairly comfortably, actually. I think there's a good chance they could win to 0. 2-0 or 3-0. That feels like the right sort of result. As long as they can handle the mental situation, actually, because obviously it's for the treble. It's the first time they'd win the Champions League. But logically, City should be fairly straightforward for them. And this is my one pick for the game. It just looked the best bit of value. How do you see this Champions League final going?
Before I say how I see it going on, I'll just comment on your pick. We didn't talk about it before we went live, but I love that. Sonny and I were actually messaging a little while ago about it. I was I don't know the price yet, but I was looking at that very same guy just for, like shot on target. So yeah, I'll definitely be checking into the prices for him to have shots on target and things like that. So I love that pick. Sometimes everyone goes for Haaland, right, and stuff. But yeah, I think you're right. That Gundogan, I think he's in fantastic form. And then Inter are going to be playing, I believe, like 3 men at the back defensively to try to frustrate City. So yeah, why not someone else, taking shots other than their center forward, who they're, everyone knows they're going to be concentrating on Haaland. So yeah, I like that pick for sure.
There's lots of different picks. There's lots of different picks that you could look at in this game, but that was the one for me. Was that I wanted to give that on this show for the best bit of value. You're involving Manchester City in a couple of selections on this week. Let's start with the most straightforward one, as simple as this: Manchester City -1 Asian handicap, and that is at -130. Actually, it's -125. I've done the wrong graphic there. But talk us through this one, and also just explain the Asian handicap for anyone might be watching who doesn't actually understand the Asian handicap.
Okay, and hello, Brian, also. So this one I actually got when the lines very first came out. So I snagged Man City -1 for -118, -120 range. So it's since shifted to 1.25. If you feel comfortable that it's going to be, obviously I expect Man City to win. So I'm hoping worst case scenario is this -1 is that, we get a push out of it. But like Steve said, I could see a good possibility of them winning to 0. And even if they don't, I think they score more than one goal. So the price has gone up a little bit on the -1. You can take the -1.25 around almost at evens, maybe -102. So I don't think that's a horrible look, but you guys know I'm not going to beat the dead horse to say it all the time. I love the option of just having the insurance of a push right? Having the possibility of a push. So that's why I really like the -1. I feel like they win, so I feel like it's a free hit. And make sure that's -1 Asian, right? Not European. So if they win by exactly 1, then you get your stake back, right? If you do it the wrong way and play the European -1, then they have to win by 2. So just always make sure when we're giving picks on here, we're using Asian lines. Yeah, shouldn't be hard to find. They're the most popular ones, but yeah, I think Man City will win. They win by 1, we get our money back. They win by more than that, we win, and it's doesn't get more straightforward than that.
Yeah, and you're actually including Manchester City in a double now. This is a -118 double. Manchester City money line. And going into Norwegian League, Eliteserien Bodø/Glimt against HamKam Bodø/Glimt, a team total over 1.5 goals. Combine those together, and that is actually a very generous looking -118, I must say. I mean, the Glimt team total should be very, very straightforward. So you're really probably just looking at Manchester City money line here, Ashley.
Right, and the Man City money line. So I locked this in today and posted it on Patreon when we got a nice little shift in the Man City money line. There was some money coming in on Inter. So, hello, David. Pretty quickly, that Man City money line went from -250 to -210. So I have been looking for something to pair Bodo's team total with. They've been doing me and my Patreon folks been treating us kindly lately. So yeah, I'm going to trust them to score twice. And I thought when I saw that Man City money line plummet to -210, got us to this fantastic price of -118. Obviously, I'm all in with Man City here. You guys know I'm one to very, very rarely play anything more than a unit. Most of my plays are half a unit. So I play half unit, 2 unit. I actually am my VIP. We're on Man City -1 for 2 units. I'm not advising you guys to do that. With the odds have changed and lost a little bit of value. But yeah, and Man City on the money line on my double here. And this double is a unit for me. So something crazy happens and Man City don't win this match, I'm going to be screwed out of 3 units, but I won't beat myself up about it. I truly do believe that Man City is the best team in the world right now. And I'm not some kind of homer. I'm not a fan. I'm not a hater of theirs either. I just mean from an unbiased opinion, watching them.
Are they the best team that's ever been? Club team?
I'll tell you this. I've only been capping the sport for I've not been doing it long enough to know the history of it, so I have nothing of value to add there.
They're the best team since you've been capping.
Yes,
soccer.
I would have to say so. I feel the most confident betting them over any other team, and I definitely enjoy watching them. It's just pretty football. They're a joy to watch. They're just talent all over the pitch. Erling Haaland is from another planet, but he's not the only one. I mean, fantastic surroundings. I love Foden. I think that kid is a future. He's already a star. I think he's going to be a superstar. So yeah, you give me the best team in the world versus a side in Inter that really shouldn't have made it past Porto. It hit some stumbling blocks. They're not a bad defensive team at all. I just don't think they have what it takes to hang with Man City, and that's not a knock on them. I don't think there are many teams right now that can hang with Man City.
Yeah, and I will add something on the Bodø/Glimt game. This is Bodø/Glimt against HamKam. It is the best offense in the Eliteserien against the worst defense, and I'm kind of friendly with one of the assistant coaches at HamKam. He's an Englishman called Tom Dent, and they did a great job last year. And I just hope it doesn't get too ugly for them.
Well, give Tom, what's his name, Ken?
Tom Dent.
Tom Dent. Give him my condolences when hopefully Bodo. I don't care. HamKam can even draw or whatever. As long as they better let my
can win. They can win and you could win.
Damn right. Yeah. So, but if Bodo happens to beat them down to give me a comfortable win, I don't have to sweat it out for once, then my condolences to Tom Dent.
They actually did take a point off them. And last year, this fixture ended 2-2, but HamKam are just, I mean, defensively horrendous. It's all really worrying for them. 23 goals against, and one thing I don't think they'll do here, I don't think they'll just open up the back door if they go 2-0 down. I think they'll just try and keep it close. You know, they'll happily lose 2 or 3-0 rather than lose 6 or 7. So, but it's very, very difficult to argue with that team total of Bodø/Glimt in this game. The match total is 3.5. But looks a very good double to me. Sonny says he's not touching the result in the UCL. Interesting one. Queen Ash, I love you, says David.
Thank you, David.
Man City, best team at the moment, and they are really motivated to win. I would totally agree with that. Brian disagrees with me. There's no way this Man City team is the best team ever. No way. But I would agree they're the best team right now. I didn't actually say they were the best ever, by the way, Brian.
Get him, Brian.
I insinuate. I asked Ashley if she thought they were the best ever team. I'm a bit. I mean, I don't. I think the best team I've ever seen in my lifetime is either this Man City team or Pep's Barcelona team. And I probably would lean towards Pep's Barcelona team, really. Obviously, before the turn of the century, I can't really comment on teams before that, which is a bit unfair. So, yeah, I mean, of the two of them, I would personally give the edge to Pep's Barcelona team. Of that, I think it's about 2009 region.
And Brian didn't say no way. Brian said no fucking way.
I know. I mean, what is the best team ever in your opinion, Brian? That's a good.
Yeah, Brian. As we're going through this, Brian, type that in there. So
best ever club team. What is the best ever club team?
Yeah,
I'm sure there'll be loads of different opinions that go out there.
I'm interested to hear because I need to educate myself about this stuff because I don't know the history of the sport. I just know how to look at lines and snipe, value and things. So yeah, curious to hear what he has to say about it.
I think we all are very, very curious. Let's stay in Eliteserien. I've got another play in the league. It's actually a big money line play on Sandefjord. This is a Haugesund against Sandefjord. I'm going on the money line on the visitors at plus 300. And I think this is a massive price because Haugesund are just not a very good team. I went against them last week and, I mean, you should have seen the expected goals figures Strømsgodset against Haugesund. It was like 3.2 against 0.7. I mean, the first Haugesund goal was a goalkeeper mistake. It was a bit like Ilan Melier for Leeds against Everton this season. Basically a 0.01 chance of a goal, but it went in. They're not a very good team, Haugesund, at all. They're terrible. Sandefjord just won 4-1 last week in a game against Odd. And when they play well, they're not too bad, but they can be awful as well. That's just why I'm not going to recommend taking them on an Asian handicap. You could easily take them plus a half here. You could easily take them draw double chance. But I wouldn't really feel comfortable having a full unit on them. I'd much rather swing at a bigger price on them to actually win the game. And they did win this match last season, I do believe. They've got a good, decent record against Haugesund, actually. Not that I'm really into head-to-heads, but they have won on both of their last two trips to this ground, which is quite interesting because it is a difficult place to visit. It's a grass pitch on the west of Norway. And I think Sandefjord adapt quite well to it because they've got a grass pitch themselves. So I think it's not such a bad away trip for them. Plus 300, there's no way in a million years. I mean, they're minus money here, Haugesund. They're minus 110 with some books. I couldn't bet stolen money on them at that price. No way. I mean, I can't believe that they're such a short price for their favourite to win at home. Probably because they won that match last week, but they were very lucky, like I said. So a bit of value play in Norway here. I'd be surprised if Sandefjord lose this game. Actually, really would.
Hey, and if plus 300, you're speaking my language for sure. Instead of taking the plus half a gold or whatever. If you think this price is way too big and the books have it wrong and you're getting a lot of positive EV there, then that's what you do. You have to take swings at value. So anytime you're taking swings like this, you're betting right in my wheelhouse. That makes me super happy to see. So I'm gonna be pulling for you here.
Yeah, Haugesund have the worst metrics in the league. They've got the worst expected goals average per game at 0.8. They've got the worst expected goals against average at 1.80. So they're legitimately the worst metrical team. So
I love it then. Because what do I always say? Metrics. Yeah. So yeah, absolutely.
I will happily bet against them at a plus 300 shot. So we'll move on to Asia now. You've actually got a couple of plays in Asia this week. It's got a Singapore, and this is a match Tampines against Hugang. Both teams to score first half at plus 200. We're really swinging at some value shots on this show today already, aren't we?
Yeah, this one is actually one that I've been playing for several seasons now, though. Especially as these Major 5 leagues wind down, there's just a ton of value. Singapore, that their top league is just really fun, wide open league. You have your random 1-0s and things like that, but that's very rare. So kind of like a Bundesliga type thing. A low scoring match is like kind of the outlier, right? So, I love goals. These aren't any, good defenses. These are just guys running around trying to score goals, which is what makes the sport exciting for me. We bet this all the time at Patreon. I don't throw a full unit on it, but I can tell you we're absolutely in the profit. We bet it a couple of days ago it hit. Last time we bet it didn't hit. Doesn't matter. And especially when this Tampines team is involved. So yeah, they're around minus 270 for both teams to score. So that's the books telling you it's likely. And with these shitty defenses, I do think they both score. So instead of going for anything crazy, if it's close to minus 300 they score, let's just take a shot that they both score in the first half. This comes through for us more than it doesn't, and that is very, very tough to find in plus money plays. So don't put a full unit on it, but pay attention to that league. And this is a golden bet for me in that league, like pretty consistently.
Yeah, I mean, I know you've had quite a lot of success with this type of bet in the Singapore League. It's full of goals. Both teams to score first half there. Tampines against Hugang. We'll stay in Asia. You've got to play in the Japanese League as well. And this is Yokohama Marinos against Kashiwa. Home team on the Asian handicap minus 0.75. What they catch your eye here?
Yeah, so Yokohama Marinos, there's two teams that I really pay a lot of attention to in the J League. Yokohama Marinos being one, and the Kashima Antlers being the other. I just love this team. They're scoring almost 2.5, I think it's like 2.43 goals at home. And they're in really good recent form too, which is really important. They're playing well at home. They're scoring almost 2.5, but they're also only conceding 0.57. And it just happens to match up really well versus this Kashiwa team that is only scoring is right around 0.6. This Kashiwa team has failed to score in 50% of their matches, and they've not scored in 4 of their last 5 on the road. They're on the road here. They're playing one of my favorite J League sides. This number shifted from a 0.75 to a -1. So, you can take the -1 for, better odds if you just want to, take a shot at not having to lay the juice. But I feel confident with it. All the metrics support it. The current form supports it. It is a team I follow pretty closely. And like I said, it's one of the couple of teams that I bet pretty decent amount in that league. So Kashiwa, just their offensive numbers are abysmal, pretty much non-existent. So I kind of thought this would be more like a -1.5. But yeah, already locked this play in, and love this team, love them at home, and I think we get a win here.
Yeah, that's Kashiwa Reysol. There's another Kashima. I'm getting mixed up.
Well, that's Kashima Antlers. Yeah, that's one of the teams that I like. Kashiwa.
I am getting mixed up here. This is not a league I know anything about. I've never watched a game. I've never betted on a game in this league.
I love it, man. They have some like Yokohama. They have some really good Brazilian strikers. So yeah, I love this league.
Wow.
A handful of teams is all I bet, but I do love those teams.
Fascinating stuff. Let's hope Yokohama Marinos can get the job done here. David says Singapore should be over 1.5 goals in the first half. Both teams to score in the first half is risky, though, he says. Well, that's why it's plus 200, isn't it? I suppose.
Yeah, it's risky, but this is the thing. You can lay the juice for the 1.5. I think that's a good play too, David, for sure. I'm just someone who likes to swing for value. And so the way that I play it and my Patreon people play it is we're in the profit on it. And, instead of playing the over 1.5, when I play it at odds where you only have to hit 1 of 3 to be profitable. So, and also, yeah, it's risky, but not as risky as most matches are going to be around the plus 300, plus 350 range for both teams to score first half. So this one falls to plus 190, plus 200. That's a pretty good indicator. Yeah, the books take a beating. I know it's me and a friend of mine, Swain Captain. We crush these bets all the time. So yeah, those odds used to be 280 and then 220, and they just steadily dropping because people are kind of turned on to them. So yeah, I think 1.5 is a great look if you want to be more cautious. Absolutely.
Brian says best team you've probably ever seen is that Pep one that I talked about, or Ancelotti's Milan of 2003. I mean, there were some very strong Italian sides, weren't they? Defensive ones, sort of on that 1990 range up until maybe the early 2000s. And yeah, that Barcelona team of around the 2008-10 era was rather sensational, Brian, I must say. I'll round things off with a couple of plays in the game in Sweden. I'm going here, Kalmar against Degerfors. The first pick I've got is a Kalmar team total over 1.5 goals at minus 137, which I'm quite frankly shocked that you can get such a big price on them here. It's one of those where Degerfors are a bit of a disgrace, really. If we're being honest, they're a terrible, terrible team. They concede so many goals. They've been battered many times, especially away from home. This is their away record. Played 5, lost 5, scored 2 goals, conceded 22 goals. Ooh. So, I mean, I joked with you earlier, Mio, you could score against their defense, and we'd score multiple goals against them.
It sounds like it.
They're that bad. So, this team total, or you could go the over 2.5 team total as well, because I think this could be an absolute smashing, to be honest. Kalmar win, half-time, full-time, handicaps, overs, the lot. They're going to rinse them, in my opinion. And the only way Degerfors can get close is if they fight fire with fire and play offensive themselves. So they've got some goals in them, Degerfors. So that might be the way they can maybe get something out of the game. But they're definitely not going to get anything out of the game with their defense. So they're going to concede plenty of goals. And I'm going with a goal scorer in this game, Mileta Rajovic, who is... actually had a good season. He's a good number 9 for Kalmar. If they do as well as they think they're going to do in this match, then he's going to be a big part of it. I need to just find how many goals exactly he scored this season. 7 goals. He's the 3rd highest scorer in the Allsvenskan behind Benny Traore and Isaac Kiese-Tellin. So he's a hot striker, and now he's playing the worst defense in the league. He should be filling his boots. I wouldn't be surprised to see him get multiple goals here, a brace, or even a hat-trick. So I think it's a good team to be betting against. Degerfors and Kalmar should absolutely do what all the other teams have been doing for them away from home, really. I think that's the sort of match you might be getting involved in, actually. It's tomorrow, actually, Saturday game.
Oh, I'm definitely going to be taking that scorer because, yeah, plus 110, that's the book's telling you it's a decent chance he scores. So I'll be looking at braces. You feel that confident in them scoring multiple goals? Yep. I'm going to be looking into it as soon as we log off here. Goal scores, that's my thing. My favorite bet.
Anything in MLS this week, Ashley? I saw that you were struggling in it midweek, and even you might be watching a bit of MLS when Messi arrives. I mean, that was rather big news this week, wasn't it? What do you think of that?
Yeah, you better believe I'll be watching because, he to me is the best player on the planet. Love that guy. That's the only thing that has made me want to watch MLS. And I'm actually now going to be looking at, because I'm in Hawaii, right? So he plays in LA, Seattle, wherever, somewhere on the West Coast. I'm be looking at flying. Definitely want to see him in person, right? He's a living legend, so I think that would be a bucket.
Were you shocked? Were you shocked? I mean, it sounded like that he was going to be going to Saudi Arabia for 1.6 billion. He was offered for 3 seasons. That was the rumor. But he's landed up in MLS with David Beckham's side into Miami. So, I mean, I thought one day he would go to MLS, but not this soon in his career because he's still pretty damn shit hot. I mean, he was the top assist provider in Ligue 1 this season with PSG. Yeah. Scored some great goals. It's a fantastic coup for MLS.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. And like I said, can't move my finger the right way, but yeah, replaced my PSG with this guy. So if you guys want to zone out at this point, I have a few things to say. Yeah, I was watching a show earlier today. Messi has been my favorite player anyway, but to me, him having the guts to walk away from $1.6 billion, the man is filthy rich. How much money does a person need, right? For turning down money from this disgusting country that is trying to whittle its way in onto the world stage to normalize, right? And what Amnesty International calls whitewashing the brutality that is that country. Okay, so I was watching a show earlier today. I'm not going to mention it to throw them under the bus. I know you guys have heard of them. They have a decent following on Twitter. But I find this very odd that in their show, it was actually making me nauseated to watch. Okay, because one of the guys used to follow me on Twitter and he doesn't anymore. The reason he doesn't follow me anymore is because a few months ago, I made a tongue-in-cheek comment. You guys know that I get, pissed off when teams lose or whatever. Obviously, I didn't wish death on anyone. That's ridiculous, right? I made a hyperbolic statement about, wow, they just blew this one in the end. Hope their bus doesn't run off of a cliff or anything. Anyone with a brain in their head knows that that's a joke. And even if it's something I shouldn't have said, then maybe I shouldn't have said it. I don't have a problem admitting that. Maybe it was in poor taste, but it certainly wasn't serious, and everyone knew that. The thing about the comment is that he unfollowed me, and he didn't call me out by name, but he did mention me on a show and took the moral high ground. And this is a 20-something-year-old. I'm assuming he's all of 22 years old. I'm a 47-year-old woman, gay woman, that has been through a little bit in life, right? So I kind of feel for these women, gay people, and non-religious people in Saudi Arabia, all three of which I am, which would get me killed, any of the three. Okay. So the same guy that unfollowed me because I said a joke like that is waxing poetic about Saudi Arabia on their show and how it's a good thing that these players are going there. Yeah, I can tell you who disagrees with that. Every human rights organization that I have studied, and I've studied it a lot. I've studied this stuff for years because as a gay person from fucking Alabama, this is stuff that I have no choice but to pay attention to. Okay. And when people want to start, Amnesty International has specifically commented on celebrities and athletes taking Saudi money and going there, and how that is counteractive to all of the efforts that they've put in over the last decades, right, for trying to get these human rights violations brought to the forefront. So in the World Cup, Mohammed bin Salman, their crown prince, who's as brutal as they get, sat right in the fancy box next to FIFA World Cup, next to the FIFA president, right, during the World Cup, because he was saying things like, look what we're trying to do with this league and look what we're trying to do with these players, right? But actually, last year was their highest number of executions in the last 5 fucking years, right? In March of last year, they executed 81 men for being the wrong type of Muslim. Okay.
So are you saying it's a complete sports washing thing? This
I'm
getting
saying
all
it's
these players
100%
in, like
sports washing. You're goddamn right. Benzema was one of my favorite players on the planet. That guy can eat a dick as far as I'm concerned. He's already filthy rich. I would understand if it was like, these guys are willing to pay you and your family is starving to death, right? But to be actually surprised, oh, what kind of a person does it take to turn down $1.6 billion? Not a very great one with the most basic modicum of common fucking decency is all it takes. Because Messi knows if he goes over there with his wife, right? His wife decides to go to the grocery store and he's not with her and she gets caught. She's going to have some explaining to do, but then they'll be like, oh, this is Messi's wife, so we're not going to behead her. Okay. But the fact that it's like she would get special treatment, but another woman wouldn't. Yeah. If you don't care, you only care about the people in your little bubble and how they would be treated. And Benzema only cares about how him and his arm candy girlfriend, wife, whatever the fuck he has is treated. Then if that's the kind of person you are, take your money, disappear and fuck off. But some people actually care. I care that they have a high suicide rate of women there. Okay. I care that families kill their daughters and their wives for speaking to a man on a sidewalk and bringing shame to their family. Look up Chop Chop Square. Okay. That's all you need to do. So when these guys said, oh, I don't know much about Saudi Arabia, but I know it's good for the sport. Fuck you. Okay. That I love this sport. I love this sport. I love my job. There's nothing I would rather do than handicap the sport, as much as they drive me crazy when they do stupid shit. I feel thankful for the life that I have. And I also care about women that wake up there every day that have to worry about looking at someone the wrong way without having their goddamn head chopped off, right? So that's really all I have to say about it. These people who are acting like it's not a big deal, these are, it's good for the sport. This sport means nothing in the scheme of life. Nothing. It is men kicking a fucking ball around at the end of the day. That's all it is.
Well, I'll say kudos for Messi for turning down 1.6 billion.
Damn right.
Kudos to him. He's still getting well looked after in MLS. I'll make that point. One thing that would disappoints me, one that I'll say about Saudi Arabia, I don't agree what they do over there myself. It's not a country I don't agree with their laws, basically, Ash.
No.
And I'm sure there's quite a lot of people who don't either. If you do, you do. If you don't, you don't. It's as simple as that. I don't like the way that they conduct themselves. And it's disappointing that certain athletes have, paid quite a lot of money. Been paid quite a lot of money, and there's the golf thing as well. I'm a big golf fan, that's probably for another day, isn't it? With the golf.
Oh, absolutely, yeah, that's a very interesting topic to go into for sure.
One thing I will say, there's definitely is some sports washing going on though, and
better believe it.
I think these players have paid so much money that they didn't have to take that money, but maybe they support that country. Maybe that's why they're doing it. So
there are a lot of sexist, homophobic bigots in the world. So yeah, they might
up to
fall
them,
right
isn't
in line.
But one thing I say, kudos to Messi. It's going to be really interesting seeing him in MLS.
Very much. So.
I'm glad that he didn't go to Saudi Arabia.
Me too.
I must say, because I think
it says a lot about the man that he put his family first. Yeah,
I think he did, and you can't blame anyone.
No.
That would put their family first, really, in life. But
right.
Anyway, well, we'll call it there, and it's food for thought about the Saudi Arabia situation. This is not going to go away. We're going to see a lot more of this, maybe not just in soccer, maybe not just in golf as well. That they are, let's see how things develop over time. But and a lot depends, of course, where you grow up in the world. But I personally, I can't agree with their main laws. I just can't. It's just the way that it is. So anyway, we'll take it from there. Best of luck with all your bets on the weekend and anyone that's been watching. And we'll see you again very soon. So take care.
Good luck, everyone, and go Man City, for fuck's sake.